안녕하세요. 터미입니다. Let's have fun learning Korean today. Today's theme is 무슨 시험이었어요? What test was it? Today we will learn about the past tense ending for nouns. 이었어요, 였어요, was, were, and the present tense ending for nouns. 이요, 요, which means is, am, are. To pass topic 1, you definitely have to memorize these expressions. Let's imagine ourselves speaking Korean fluently and being the super master of Korean. 그럼 시작할게요. The title of today's conversation is 무슨 시험이었어요? What test was it? Sangmin and Tammy seem to have had a test. I wonder whether they got good scores. Let's listen to the conversation with English subtitles first. 그럼 들어보세요.
터미 씨, 어제 무슨 시험이었어요? 영어였어요. 왜요? 그날 저도 영어 시험이었어요. 저는 50점이었어요. 저보다 좋네요. 저는 30점이었어요. 우리 초콜릿이나 먹고 앞으로 힘내요. 고마워요. 내일은 일본어 시험이 아니었어요? 맞아요. 저는 오늘도 밤새요.
Now, I will explain the vocabularies and phrases while reviewing the conversation one sentence at a time.
터미 씨, 어제 무슨 시험이었어요?
시험 means test or exam, but you have to pay attention here. In English, we say to take a test. So we use take for the verb. In Korean, we say 시험을 보다, to watch a test. So the verb is 보다, to watch or look. When someone says 시험 잘 봐, it means good luck with your test. Koreans use this phrase often between classmates, or parents say this to children when it is close to exam dates.
영어였어요. 왜요?
Where means why, so where is why in a polite form.
그날 저도 영어 시험이었어요. 저는 50점이었어요.
We learned 이, 그, 저, which means this, that, and that. However, strangely in Korean, we say 이날, this day, and 그날, that day, but somehow we don't really use the expression 저날, that day. Basically, when you want to express that day in Korean, you say 그날. 점 means points. If you want to say a score, you use the Sino-Korean numbers. When you say 100점, it means 100 points, and usually it is full marks in Korea. In opposite, when you say 빵점, it means 0 points. By the way, the word 빵점 is pronounced the same as 빵, bread that we eat. So students sometimes refrain from eating bread on the very important exam day. Interesting, isn't it?
저보다 좋네요. 저는 30점이었어요.
The verb 보다 means to see. But if you make noun plus 보다, it can also become a particle that means more than. This is easy to use in a sentence because you just need to add 보다 after a noun, whether or not there is a final consonant. Here, Tammy said, 저보다 좋네요. That's better than mine. 저 means mine, and 보다 means more than. Together, it becomes 저보다 better than mine.
우리 초콜릿이나 먹고 앞으로 힘내요.
In the sentence, 상민 said, 초콜릿이나 먹고, eat some chocolate. Here, 상민 used 이나 as a particle, some. 앞으로 is a positive word that means from now on. Koreans often use this in greetings, such as 앞으로 잘 부탁드리겠습니다. Which means I hope to get along with you from now on. 힘내다 means to cheer up. And it is a word made up by combining 힘, power, and 내다, to make or to produce.
고마워요. 내일은 일본어 시험이 아니었어요?
The original form of 고마워요 is 고맙다, which means to thank. Another similar expression is 감사하다, to thank.
맞아요. 저는 오늘도 밤새요.
밤새다 means to stay up all night. The Chinese originated noun 철야 also means staying up all night. Next, let me explain the grammar. First, let's learn how to make a past tense ending for nouns. This has only two patterns. When there is a final consonant, you use 이었어요. And when there is no final consonant, you use 였어요. In the conversation, there was a phrase, 어제 무슨 시험이었어요? What test was yesterday? In this case, 시험, test, has a final consonant. So you add 이었어요 to make a question. Let's look at the next example. 저는 50점이었어요. I got 50 points. Here, 50점 has a final consonant. So you add 이었어요 to say 50점이었어요. I got 50 points. In English, it is natural to say I got 50 points. But in direct translation in Korean would be I was 50 points. That's why 상민 said 50점이었어요 in the conversation. Next, let's take a look at an example without a final consonant. In the conversation, there was a phrase 영어였어요. It was English. Here, 영어, English, does not have a final consonant. So you add 였어요 to say 영어였어요. Next, I will explain how to make a negative sentence ending of past tense for nouns. 이가 아니었어요. Was not or were not. There are also two patterns of use. If the noun has a final consonant, you just add 이 아니었어요. If there is no final consonant, you just add 가 아니었어요. In the conversation, there is a phrase 내일은 일본어 시험이 아니었어요? Isn't there a Japanese test tomorrow? Here, 시험, test, has a final consonant. So you add 이 아니었어요 to say 시험이 아니었어요. Isn't there a test? Let's take a look at nouns without a final consonant. 김포공항 비행기가 아니었어요. It was not an airplane from Gimpo Airport. Here, 비행기, airplane, does not have a final consonant. So you add 가 아니었어요 to say 비행기가 아니었어요. It was not an airplane. Quiz! Now, let's improve our understanding by taking a short quiz. What goes in the parentheses? 그 사람은 토미 씨 남동생. That person was Tommy's younger brother. Number 1, 이었어요. Number 2, 였어요. The answer is number 1. Because 남동생, younger brother, has a final consonant. So you add 이었어요 to say 토미 씨 남동생이었어요. Let's try the next quiz. 모레는 휴일. The day after tomorrow was not a holiday. Number 1, 가 아니었어요. Number 2, 이 아니었어요. The answer is number 2. Because 휴일, holiday, has a final consonant. So you add 이 아니었어요 to say 휴일이 아니었어요. Next, let's go over 이어요, is, am, are. basically, all you have to do is to add 이요 when a noun has a final consonant and add 요 when a noun does not have a final consonant. But when there are particles like 이, 가, 을, 를, 은, 는, you add 요 whether or not there is a final consonant. First, you use 이요 for a word with a final consonant. For example, 여기 비빔밥이야 can be translated as here is 비빔밥. 비빔밥 has a final consonant. So you add 이요 and it becomes 비빔밥이요. However, the expression actually means, can I order bibimbap here please? So Korean often use 이요, 요 to order something. In the conversation, Tommy said 왜요? As an expression meaning why. Here, 왜 does not have a final consonant. So you add 요 to say 왜요? Why? In a polite way. Somehow, Koreans never say 왜예요? It is always 왜요? Another phrase Koreans use commonly is 여기야, here. Again, 여기 does not have a final consonant. So you add 요 to say 여기야. 여기요's direct translation would be here, but it means excuse me. So you can get attention from someone in service, especially when you are ready to order food in a restaurant, take a cab, or receive any other kind of service, you can use this phrase. If you are traveling in the near future, you might want to remember this phrase. You can use 이요, 요 with a particle to give the nuance of isn't it? For example, you can say 저는요, 실은요, 남자친구가 있어요. I do actually have a boyfriend. Here, it is important to note that when you add a particle like 는, 은, you can use 요 whether or not the particle has a final consonant like 저는요, 실은요, I am actually. Quiz! Let's take a quiz to deepen our understanding. What scores in the parentheses? 과자. Is it a snack? Number 1, 이요. Number 2, 요. The answer is number 2. Because 과자, a snack, does not have a final consonant. So you add 요 to say 과자요. Is it a snack? How about the next question in the following conversation?
토미 씨를 추천합니다. I recommend Tommy. 저를? Me?
Number 1, 이요. Number 2, 요. The answer is number 2. Because 저를's 를 is the object marker, which is a particle. So you add 요 and say 저를요. Now, let's try to listen to the conversation only in Korean. You should be able to understand it much better than the beginning. 그럼 확인해보세요.
토미 씨, 어제 무슨 시험이었어요? 영어였어요. 왜요? 그날 저도 영어 시험이었어요. 저는 50점이었어요. 저보다 좋네요. 저는 30점이었어요. 우리 초콜릿이나 먹고 앞으로 힘내요. 고마워요. 내일은 일본어 시험이 아니었어요? 맞아요. 저는 오늘도 밤새요.
Now, let's read it aloud. I'll play the audio one sentence at a time, so please read along with me. 그럼 큰 소리로 읽어보세요.
토미 씨, 어제 무슨 시험이었어요? 영어였어요. 왜요? 그날 저도 영어 시험이었어요. 저는 50점이었어요. 저보다 좋네요. 저는 30점이었어요. 우리 초콜릿이나 먹고 앞으로 힘내요. 고마워요. 내일은 일본어 시험이 아니었어요? 맞아요. 저는 오늘도 밤새요.
Good job! Be sure to read it aloud 5 times. Okay, I will announce today's 2 assignments. The first homework is to write 2 sentences. For the first sentence, use the past tense for nouns. 이었어요, 였어요. Was, were. For example, 어제는 친구 생일이었어요. Yesterday was my friend's birthday. For the second sentence, you can make a past tense negative for nouns. For example, 모레가 아니었어요. It wasn't the day after tomorrow. Okay? The second homework is memorizing vocabulary. Please memorize 40 words from number 321 to 360 on page 5 of the beginner's word list. You can take a 40-word quiz on my website, so please challenge it for yourself. It's amazing how much you learned today. I'm really looking forward to seeing you again in the next class. 그럼 오늘도 행복 가득, 웃음 가득한 하루 되세요. 한국어 파이팅 파이팅 파이팅!